Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, March 11th, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL, and MLB spring training games. Look ahead to today's games in each sport. I'll recap last night's Season 5 premiere of The Masked Singer. I'll do my latest news and notes and my best bet of the day. We're going to start with college basketball as we do each and every day, especially now because this is March. We'll go over all the conference tournament game results from last night and look ahead to all of the games for today. Northern Colorado over Sacramento State, 90-83. Big Sky first round. ACC second round. Syracuse over NC State, 89-68. Big Sky first round. Northern Arizona over Portland State, 77-66. Wyoming over San Jose State, 111-80 in the Mountain West first round. Miami over Clemson, 67-64 in the ACC second round. Georgetown over Marquette, 68-49. Big East first round. Jackson State over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 74-62 in the SWAC quarterfinal. Arizona State over Washington State, 64-59 in the Pac-12 first round. UNLV over Air Force, 80-52 in the Mountain West first round. Iona over Siena, 55-52 in the MAC quarterfinal. Montana over Idaho, 69-64 in the Big Sky first round. Loyola Maryland over Army, 67-63 in the Patriot League semifinal. New Orleans over Southeast Louisiana, 80-63 in the Southland second round. Butler upset Xavier, 70-69 in overtime in the Big East first round. Kansas State over TCU, 71-50 in the Big 12 first round. UTSA over Charlotte, 72-62 in the CUSA second round. Duke over Louisville, 70-56 in the ACC second round. Minnesota over Northwestern, 51-46 in the Big 10 first round. Utah over Washington, 98-95 in the Pac-12 first round. Rice over Marshall, 72-68 in the CUSA second round. Vandy over A&M, 79-68 in the SEC first round. Fresno over New Mexico, 85-77 in the Mountain West first round. Fairfield over Monmouth, 79-60 in the MAC quarterfinal. Colgate over Bucknell, 105-75 in the Patriot League semifinal. Lamar over Houston Baptist, 62-52 in the Southland second round. DePaul upsets Providence, 70-62 in the Big East first round. North Carolina kills Notre Dame, 101-59 in the ACC second round. I almost picked that for my best bet, but I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger and regretting it now, obviously. We'll get to what my best bet was in a couple seconds. Penn State over Nebraska, 72-66 in the Big 10 first round. Number 25, Oklahoma over Iowa State, 79-73 in the Big 12 first round. FE over UTEP, 76-70, CUSA second round. Prairie View over Mississippi Valley State, 91-64 in the SWAC quarterfinal. Cal over Stanford, 76-58 in the Pac-12 first round. And North Texas over Middle Tennessee, 76-56 in the CUSA second round. A very busy day today in college basketball. I don't have the totals for every game, so I apologize for that. So without further ado, here we go. 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, MAC quarterfinal, Ball State Toledo. I'm at Toledo, 19.5, total 151. Meanwhile, on FanDuel, Toledo is favored by 8, and the total is 155. I'm going to lay to 8 with Toledo at minus 106. 11:30 a.m. on ESPN, number 12, Oklahoma State at number 10, West Virginia. I'm at West Virginia, 2.5, total 149.5. Meanwhile, it is 2.5 and 150.5. Very close on the numbers. My closest edge is the under, so I'm going to go under 150.5 at a juice number. I'm sorry, looking at the wrong game. The over is juice. The under is valued at minus 106. 11:30, you got on the Big Ten Network, Big Ten second round, Michigan State, Maryland. I'm at Michigan State, 3.5, total 136.5. It's Maryland by 1, total 129.5. I'm going to go over 129.5 because everyone, their brothers would take Mississippi or Michigan State, and it won't work out. So I'm going to go over 129.5 at minus 106. 12 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, Big East quarterfinal, Georgetown, number 14, Villanova. I have Nova 13, sorry, no total. It's 7.5, I'm laying the 7.5 at Nova. 12 o'clock, ESPN 2, ACC quarterfinal, Syracuse and number 16, Virginia. I'm at Virginia 8. And it's 5, I'm going to lay to 5 at Virginia. ESPN U, ACC first round, or AAC first round, Temple, South Florida. I'm at USF 2 total 134.5. It's Temple 1.5 total 132. I am going to go with South Florida plus the 1.5 and plus 106 straight up. SEC Network, Mississippi State at Kentucky. SEC second round. I'm at Kentucky 5 total 141.5. Meanwhile, it's 3.5 132. I'm going to take the over here. That is a low number. So low. So I'm taking over 132. 1 o'clock, Big Sky quarterfinal, Northern Colorado and Southern Utah. I'm at Southern Utah by 9 and 7.5. Total's 143. Over's a very, very juice, minus 132. Unders plus 108. And that's pretty crazy. I'm going to go over. Let's assume it goes to 143.5, and I'll take it even at that. 130 MAC quarterfinal, Ohio Kent State. I'm at Kent by a half, total 151. It's Ohio by a half, total 149.5. I'm taking Kent plus the 1.5 and minus 106 and plus 106 on the money line. 2 o'clock, Big Ten Network, Minnesota number 9, Ohio State, Big Ten second round. I'm at Ohio State 11.5, and it is 11, totals 145. I'm taking the over. I think that this could be a shootout. SEC second round, Vandy, Florida. I'm at Florida 15. And I don't see a lineup for this game yet, amazingly enough. Oh, wait, here you are. 7.5, Florida. So I'm going to lay the points with the Gators. Long Beach State and Santa Barbara, Big West quarterfinal. I'm at Santa Barbara 16.5. And it's 14. I'm going to lay the 14 in Santa Barbara at minus 106. 2:30 ESPN, Kansas City number 2, Baylor. Big 12 quarterfinal. I'm at Baylor 23.5. It's 20. I'm going to lay the 20 with Baylor. ESPN 2, 2:30 ACC quarterfinal, Miami, Georgia Tech. I'm at Georgia Tech 10.5. And it's 9.5. Totals 139. I'm going to take the under, minus 116. 2:30 Pac-12 Network, Pac-12 quarterfinal, Arizona State, Oregon. I'm at Oregon 11, and it's 9. I'm going to lay the 9 with Oregon. 3 o'clock CBS Sports Network, MWC quarterfinal, Miami at number 19, San Diego State. I shouldn't say at, it's against. San Diego State by 13.5 is my projection, and it is 14.5, total 143. I'm going to take the under. 3 o'clock Fox Sports 1, Big East quarterfinals, St. John, Seton Hall. I'm at Seton Hall by 2. And I don't remember what my total was. It was pretty big, but I don't have a number in front of me. They're at Seton Hall by 2. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think I projected that total like in the high 140s. So depending on where the total is, if it's like 150 or higher, I'd go under. And if it's like 146 or lower, I'd go over. ESPNU, AAC, first round, Tulsa. I'm at Tulsa 8, total 130. That's 3.5 and 126.5. I'm taking Tulsa minus the 3.5. Alcorn, Texas, Southern SWAC quarterfinal. I'm at Southern 11.5, total 143. Meanwhile, it's 9 and 145. I'm going to lay the 9 with Southern. Big Sky quarterfinal, 4 o'clock, Montana State, Idaho State. I'm at Montana State by 3.5. And it's 2.5, totals 130. I'm taking the over. That's way too low. MAC quarterfinal, Miami of Ohio, Buffalo. I'm at Buffalo 9, total 150. Meanwhile, it's 8 and 151. So it's 1 point on each way. I'm going to go, for the sake of the podcast, where's the value? Both ways I want to go is at the juice number. But my gut tells me Buffalo. So I'll go Buffalo minus the 8 for the show. MAC quarterfinal, 5 o'clock. Ryder, St. Peter's. I am at St. Peter's by 12, and it's 6. So related to 6 with St. Peter's. Bakersfield and UC Davis in the Big West quarterfinal. I'm at Bakersfield by 2, and it's 3.5. So it's 132.5. I'm taking the over. 5:30 Pac-12 Network, Pac-12 quarterfinal, Oregon State and UCLA. I am at UCLA by 10, and it's 5. I'm going to lay a 5 at UCLA. CBS Sports Network, Mountain West quarterfinal, Nevada, Boise State. I'm at Boise 6, total 141.5. Meanwhile, it is 4.5 and 146.5. I'm taking the under. That is very high of a number. Boise State's a good defensive team, so I'm going to go under 146.5. 6 o'clock Fox Sports 1, Big East quarterfinal, Butler, number 17, Creighton. I'm at Creighton by 12, and it's 10. I'm going to lay the 10 with Creighton at a juice number, minus 116. MEAC quarterfinal, Morgan State, Florida A&M. I'm at Morgan by a half, total 143.5. It was 3.5 and 139. I'm going to take Florida A&M plus the 3.5, but I do not expect them to win. Over 139 is way too juiced. So I'm going to take Florida A&M plus the 3.5 for them to cover, not win. Southland quarterfinal, New Orleans, Northwestern State. I'm at Northwestern State by 1, and it's New Orleans by 3. I'm taking Northwestern State plus a 3 and plus 134 on the money line. 6:30 ESPN 2, number 25 Oklahoma against number 11 Kansas. I'm at Kansas by 6.5, and it's 3. I'm laying the 3. That is way too low. Although I think Kansas has an injury on their team. Hang on, guys. I just thought of it. Kansas, there's an injury on Kansas. I need to look up who it is. Kansas basketball. There's a couple injuries for Kansas. But they're from a while ago. Their freshman Bryce Thomas has been out for a while. I can't put finger to the thought. I'm gonna lay. It went down to 2.5. That's crazy. What's up with Oklahoma? So I'm laying the 2.5 with Kansas. That's absolutely crazy. I'm gonna go reverse on what everybody's thinking. ESPN tonight, Duke against Florida State. I'm at Seminoles 4.5, and it's 4. Total's 152.5. That's very high. I'm going to go under. I think that both these teams are better defensively than that number suggests. So I'm going to go under 152.5 between Duke and Florida State. And I have an edge, like a half-point edge on Duke, amazingly enough. But I don't pull triggers on half-point differentials if you have a bigger edge on something else in the same game. CUSA quarterfinal, UTSA and Western Kentucky. I'm at Western Kentucky by 8. And it's 7.5 total. It's 148. I'm taking the under. Big Ten Network, Indiana, Rutgers. I'm at Rutgers 4.5 total, 139.5. Meanwhile, it is Rutgers 3.5. I don't see a total yet for this game. So for the podcast, they're going to lay the 3.5 with Rutgers. Bowling Green, Akron, MAC quarterfinal. I'm at Akron 1 total 152. Meanwhile, it's Akron 1 total 153.5. I have no choice but to take the under. I'm doing it for the sake of the podcast. I'm not betting it. 7 o'clock ESPNU, AAC. First round, East Carolina, UCF. I'm at UCF 6, total 135.5. Meanwhile, it's 5 and 134.5. So again, 1 point off each way. Go with your gut. My gut tells me Central Florida. Rice UAB CUSA quarterfinal. I'm at UAB 12.5. Meanwhile, it's 8.5. I'm going to lay 8.5 at UAB at -106. Big Sky quarterfinal. Northern Arizona and Eastern Washington. I'm at Eastern Washington 17.5. Well, it's 15. I'm going to lay to 15 with Eastern Washington. Georgia, Missouri, SEC second round on the SEC network. I'm at Missouri 5.5 total 151.5. Meanwhile, it is 6 and 153.5. So I'm going to take the under. Seattle and Cal Baptist. I'm at Baptist by 2. Total 148. Meanwhile, it's Seattle 1, total 151.5. I'm taking Baptist plus the 1 and plus 100 on the money line for the WAC quarterfinal game. That game's at 7:30 as well as the next one, MAC quarterfinal, Niagara Marist. I'm at Niagara by 0.5. And I don't see a line out for this game yet. 8 o'clock, MEAC quarterfinal, NC Central, Norfolk State. I'm at Norfolk 6.5, total 141.5. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 and 132.5. That's low for a total. I'm taking the over. Big West quarterfinal, Cal Poly and UC Irvine. I'm at Irvine by 23, and it's 15. I'm going to lay to 15. 8:30 Pac-12 Network, Utah, number 24 USC. I'm at SC 10.5, and it's 7. I'm going to lay to 7. 9 o'clock ESPN ACC quarterfinal, North Carolina, number 22 Virginia Tech. I'm at Carolina by 3. And it's Carolina by 4. Total is 140.5. I'm taking the over at -116. 9 o'clock SEC Network, SEC second round. South Carolina, Ole Miss. I'm at Ole Miss 9, total 149.5. Meanwhile, it's 7 and 140.5. So I'm going to go. Ooh, that's a tough one. A couple big edges. I'm going to go over 140.5. All right, Southland quarterfinal, Lamar, Sam Houston State. I'm at Sam Houston State 13.5. It's 8.5. I'm going to lay to 8.5. CBS Sports Network Mountain West quarterfinal, UNLV, Utah State. I'm going to go Utah State 11.5, and it's 9. I'm going to lay to 9. Fox Sports 1 tonight, 9 o'clock, DePaul, UConn, Big East quarterfinal. I'm at UConn whopping 17.5. It's 12.5. I'm going to lay to 12.5. Big Ten Network, Big Ten second round, Penn State, Wisconsin. I'm at Wisconsin 9.5. And it's 5. I'm going to lay to 5. 9:30 ESPN 2, Big 12 quarterfinal, number 20 Texas Tech against number 13 Texas. I'm at Texas 2.5, total 140. Meanwhile, it's Texas Tech 1.5, total 134.5. I'm going to take the over. I think that's a low number. I think the Andrew Jones and Matt McClung on each side, that's low for a total. CUSA quarterfinal, FAU, Louisiana Tech. I'm at Tech 8.5. Meanwhile, it's 7.5, total is 137. I'm going to take the over. SWAC quarterfinal, Southern Grambling. I'm at Pick'em in 138.5. Meanwhile, it's Southern 2. Total 138. I'm taking Grambling plus the 2 at -106. Although on the SWAC preview show, I said that Southern would win. 10 o'clock CUSA quarterfinal. North Texas and Old Dominion. I'm at Old Dominion by 0.5. And it's North Texas 4.5. I'm taking Old Dominion plus the 4.5 and plus 158 on the money line. Big Sky quarterfinal. I'm at Weber State 4.5 over Montana. And it's 6. So it's 142. I'm taking the over. 11 o'clock, WAC quarterfinal, Rio Grande, New Mexico State. I'm at New Mexico State 8, total 135. It's 11.5 and 131.5. I'm going to take the over 131.5 just to feel safe. Hawaii, Riverside, Big West quarterfinal. I'm at Riverside by 3. And it's 5. I'm taking Hawaii in the 5. 11:30 ESPN, Pac-12 quarterfinal. Cal at number 23, Colorado. I'm at Colorado 18. It's 14 and we lay to 14. And last but not least, Mountain West quarterfinal. CBS Sports Network, Fresno, Colorado State. I'm at Colorado State by 10. It's 8.5, totals 137. I'm going to take the over. All right, that was a lot of college basketball for today. And last night was the return of the NBA. I just never got to it on my show because I thought it was back tonight. So there were 2 games last night. I think there were makeup games lost due to teams dealing with COVID issues. And that makes all the sense in the world because the Spurs missed a lot of time. And the 2 teams that played against one another did as well. And the Wizards and the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies came out on top 127-112. And then in the other game, the Mavs came out on top over the Spurs 115-104. A big window for tonight. 11 games. It's going to be a lot of fun. Alrighty, so 7 o'clock you have the Pistons and the Hornets. I'm at Charlotte 9, total 223. Meanwhile, it is Charlotte 4.5, total to 23.5. I'm laying the 4.5 with Charlotte. That's way too low. 7:30 TNT, Celtics Nets from Brooklyn. I'm at Brooklyn 10, total 230. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 233.5. That is way too low. I guess Kevin Durant's still out because I did the line projection thinking that Kevin Durant was playing. Yeah, no Kevin Durant tomorrow, so I had to adjust this line on the fly down to 3.5 because Kevin Durant is worth a lot. So I had to do some adjusting. So now I have to just do the under 233.5 at -114. It's juiced. Hawks Raptors. I'm at Toronto by a half, total 224.5. Meanwhile, it's Atlanta 2.5, total 225. There must be players still out for the Raptors because of their COVID stuff. Let's see. It looks like that Van Vliet won't play in Anabe. So I had to do yet again more adjusting on the fly. So 2.5 for Van Vliet. So it's 3 points combined between the 2 players. So again, I have to make an adjustment on the fly. So now my line is Hawks 2.5. Total 224.5. So I'm pretty close to the market. For the podcast sake, I have to take the under. And it makes sense because of the COVID stuff with Toronto. 8 o'clock, you have the Knicks and the Bucks from Milwaukee. I'm at Milwaukee 10, total 220.5. Meanwhile, it is 10.5, total 223. I'm taking the under. Derrick Rose not back yet for the Knicks, so I'm going to go under 223. Magic Heat. It is Magic 12, total 216. Heat 12, total 216.5. It was 8.5 and 214.5. I'm going to lay 8.5 with the Heat at -105 or 106. My bad. Sixers Bulls. I'm at Philly 4, total 228. Chicago's probably favoring this game, and they are. Total's 227. Let's see if Tobias Harris is out. Because if he's out, then I have to make more adjustments to this line. Because I factored in no Embiid and no Simmons. But I'm at Philly 4, total 228. I'm taking the Sixers plus 3.5 and plus 132 straight up. The best player on the floor would be Zach LaVine. But I could see the Sixers winning this game and the Bulls taking them for granted. Timberwolves Pelicans. I'm at Pelicans 12.5 total to 28. Meanwhile, it's 8 and 238.5. I am taking the under definitely. That's way too high. 9 o'clock Mavs Thunder. I'm at Dallas 9.5 total to 20.5. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 total to 19. I'm laying the 5.5 with the Mavs. 10 o'clock TNT Warriors Clippers. I'm at Clippers 7 total to 25.5. Meanwhile, it is 7 and 231. I'm taking the under. That's pretty high. Suns Blazers. I'm at Suns 3.5 total to 25. Tonight could very well be the return of Nurkic and McCollum. It's Phoenix 4 total to 27. I'm taking the under. And then the Rockets and the Kings, my Sacramento 3 total to 28. Meanwhile, it's 4.5 and 28.5. I have no choice but to take the Rockets plus 4.5 and minus 108 for the sake of the show. Alrighty, now we'll go over the NHL from last night and look ahead to tonight's window. Wild over the Golden Knights 4-3. Oilers over the Sens 7-1. Avs over the Coyotes 2-1 in overtime on a game winner by Gabriel Landeskog. Kings over the Ducks 5-1. The Canadiens over the Canucks 5-1. Big window tonight, 7 o'clock. You got the Rangers and the Bruins from Boston. The Bruins are minus 184. The Rangers are plus 154. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 162. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 134. I have to take the over. Igor Shesterkin's still out for the Rangers, so I have to go over until he's back because the Rangers are going to give up a lot of goals. And heck, they, on some nights, will score a lot of goals. Penguins, Sabres. The Pens are minus 205. Buffalo's plus 172. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 110. Unders minus 134. Pens minus 1.5 is plus 126. Buffalo plus 1.5 is minus 152. I'm taking the Pens minus 1.5 at plus 126. It's funny, everyone's talking about the Jack Eichel sweepstakes. I heard that Pittsburgh could very well be involved in that. So, you never know with these kind of stuff. To me, Jack Eichel's best fit's the Rangers. The Rangers need that piece, that star player to go with Artemi Panarin for the long run. So, I think that's the best fit personally, but Pittsburgh would be interesting too. Eichel and Crosby together. Oof. And Malkin. Like, that's just insane. So, give me the Pens minus 1.5 at plus 126. I'm just aiming for some value there. Devils, Islanders. The Islanders minus 220. Devs are plus 188. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 110. Unders minus 134. Devils plus 1.5 is minus 160. Islanders plus or minus 1.5 is plus 132. I'm going to lay the puck line with the Islanders at plus 132. I don't like how the Devils have been playing. Capitals, Flyers. The Capitals minus 106. The Flyers are minus 110. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 160. Unders minus 114. Caps plus 1.5 is minus 250. Flyers minus 1.5 is plus 202. I'm laying the minus 106 with the Capitals. I think they're going to win this game outright as a dog. I like the Caps as a dog a lot. They play better as a dog. Vitek Vanecek has weirdly at times been better than Carter Hart this year, so I'm going to lay the minus 106 with the Caps. Preds, Canes. The Preds are plus 215. The Canes are minus 260. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 132. The unders plus 108. Preds plus 1.5 is minus 137. The Canes minus 1.5 is plus 114. I am going to go with the under here. I think it's very valuable at that number. It looks like it's just going to keep going up. But under 5.5 at plus 108 is pretty cool. Panthers, Jackets. The Panthers are minus 144. The Jackets are plus 220 or 122. Over under 5.5. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 190. Jackets plus 1.5 is minus 235. I'm going to take the Jackets straight up at plus 122. I think that Columbus could potentially win this one outright. So give me plus 122. And I think there's a chance that the Panthers are the Rabbit team this year. They were the Rabbit team a couple years ago, and then they lost in the first round to the Islanders. That was the year the Penguins wound up winning the first of 2 in a row Stanley Cups. Jets, Maple Leafs. The Jets are plus 158. The Leafs are minus 188. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 154. Maple Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 128. I'm going to go with the over 6.5 at minus 105. I think this is a high scoring game. Lightning, Red Wings. The Lightning are minus 340. Now we're in the 7:30 games. Red Wings plus 275. Over under 5.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Lightning minus 1.5 is minus 115. Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 104. I'm taking over 5.5 at even money. I think that this could be a 4-3 game yet again, or a 3-2 game, and the last goal being an empty netter. 8:30 Blackhawks Stars again from Dallas. The Blackhawks are plus 130. The Stars minus 154. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 102. Unders minus 124. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 200. Stars minus 1.5 is plus 164. I'm going to go with the over at plus 102. The Stars, I think, could carry over the good momentum from the other day. And I saw some flaws with the Hawks goaltending. And I think the Hawks could put up some goals as well. So I'm going to go over 5.5 at plus 102. At 9 o'clock tonight, Canadiens, Flames. The Canadiens are minus 104. The Flames are minus 112. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 124. The under is plus 102. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 225. Canadiens plus 1.5 is minus 280. I'm going to do Calgary in regulation at plus 135. I really don't do the in regulation lines, but I'm going to do Calgary in regulation at plus 135 for this game. Now I'm going to look at the spring trading scores from yesterday and look ahead to today's matchups. Red Sox over the Braves 5-3. Phils over the Tigers 6-4. Twins over the Rays 6-2 and 8. Nats over the Cards 3-2. Orioles over the Jays 4-3 and 7. Angels over the Indians 4-2 and 8. Giants over the Cubs 7-6. Royals over the Reds 9-3. A's over the Bruins 9-1 and 7. Rocks over the Pods 7-5 and 7. Rangers over the Mariners 17-5 and 7. Astros and Marlins ended in a 4-4 tie. Yanks over the Pirates 6-5, and Dodgers over the Diamondbacks 3-2 and 8. Today's games: 1 o'clock Yanks, Phils, Orioles, Pirates, Red Sox, Twins, Rays, Braves, Nats, Marlins, Tigers, Jays. 3 o'clock A's, Rangers, Cubs, Rocks, Indians, Padres, Royals, Brewers, Giants, Angels. 6 o'clock Mets, Astros. 8 o'clock White Sox, Reds, and Mariners, Dodgers. So there you have it for Major League Baseball spring training for today. And now, here we are. Masked Singer last night was a very, very interesting show, to say the least. Niecy Nash obviously filling in for Nick Cannon. I'm going to go through all of the contestants that went and obviously talk about who went home. The Russian dolls, there is like a Russian theme. There's a toy store. There's like that, a very familiar logo. And I think it was like the, what kind of logo is that? Like a recycling logo. It was the logo that has the arrows, like the circles. And it looked like recycling in a way, like a weird logo. There are a lot of toys. There's a winter theme. Garden State Highway is the clue that stood out to me, because obviously it refers to New Jersey. And then there's a train in there too. Could refer to New York, potentially. And this started out as one, and then there's another Russian doll with them. It was weird. We had no idea this was going to be two people. But sure enough, it was a huge surprise and ended up being two people. I am not going to give away my first impression guesses on the show until that respective contestant is eliminated. So Jenny McCarthy said the duo from Lady Antebellum. Nicole Scherzinger went with the Glee duo of Matthew Morrison and Kevin McHale. And then Ken Jeong went with Gwen Stefani and her drummer. The Snail is hinted about UFO and being around a lot of people. There was a teddy bear, meatballs. And he said something like, smell it. And he performed You Make My Dreams Come True. In terms of guesses, Robin Thicke threw out Jay Leno and Seth MacFarlane. Nicole said Jimmy Kimmel. Jenny McCarthy went with Mark Wahlberg. The seashell I thought was pretty good. There was a hot dog, a castle, there's a shore, and then there's a chameleon. She hinted about having success ASAP. And she says that she hasn't sang in a while. And she performed Listen to Your Heart by Roxette. In terms of guesses, Ken Jeong said Kristen Chenoweth. Nicole said Hilary Duff. Jenny went with Jessica Simpson. And Robin went with Jennifer Love Hewitt. The raccoon. There was hints about him seeing dark days and he could have went to jail. There's a magnifying glass. There's a book. He wore a country costume. There's a hints about candles and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Notre Dame, as he said. And it is pronounced Notre Dame in the movie. But Notre Dame, as we know, is a school. That's how I pronounce it. And this contestant performed Wild Things. And in terms of guesses, Nicole Scherzinger went with Gary Busey. Ken Jeong went with Mike Tyson. And Robin Thicke went with Danny DeVito and Joe Pesci. Next up was the porcupine, and then he said, no, I'm the Robopine. So they're calling him Robopine. He hinted at being on a mission, 411. There was a phone, a city, a phone call that changed his life. And then the next mission. And this person performed Never Too Much. I'm not going to say who my first impression guess was until after this person's unmasked. But after he performed, I thought this was somebody. And then he hinted that he had grandchildren. Or he said that he had children and grandchildren. So I had to think more old school. And I settled on Stevie Wonder, who sings Do I Do, Isn't She Lovely, I Wish, Sir Duke. So many good songs. Nicole Scherzinger went with Jamie Foxx. Ken Jeong went with Lionel Richie. And Robin Thicke went with Jamie Wine. And by the way, in the middle of the show, Nicey Nash said to them that there was a box under Jenny's chair, and it was from Nick Cannon, who's obviously not going to be there for a chunk of the season due to dealing with COVID-19. And in the box was a note from Nick that each panelist has to throw $50 if Jamie Foxx, Johnny Knoxville, Lindsay Lohan, and there was one more on there. And I can't think of who it was. But Nicole said Jamie Foxx and she had to pay the price. But watch one of those four people be on the show and they're going to really laugh their butts off. And who went home first? The Snail. My first impression guess was Lionel Richie. Because to me this sounded like somebody seasoned and somebody that's older. And they're trying to throw their voice and the clues. So I went with Lionel Richie. And then I thought about the clues, and I couldn't get talk show host out of my head, and I thought it had to have been somebody old, and I settled on a ridiculous guess of Dr. Phil. Robin stuck with his first impression guess of Seth MacFarlane. Ken Jung's first impression guess was Adam Carolla. He went with Jay Leno as his final. Or no, he didn't have Adam Carolla as his first impression guess. I think he had Jay Leno. Jenny and Nicole had Adam Carolla as their first impression guesses. And then Jenny and Nicole each went with somebody different for their final guess. Jenny's final guess was politician Ted Cruz. And Nicole Scherzinger's final guess was Billy Crystal, which made sense. I thought that was a solid guess. Ted Cruz I thought was ridiculous. Jay Leno wasn't ridiculous. Seth MacFarlane not ridiculous. And who was it? Somebody that you would never expect. They say it ain't easy being green. How about how easy was it, or not easy was it, being in a snail costume? And yes, it ain't, they always say it ain't easy being green because it was Kermit the Frog. What the heck? Masked Singer history, the first puppet to be on the show as a contestant. This is the most famous person that the Masked Singer's ever had, arguably. Ken Jung said it. I was stunned. So they do the who are you? And they take, and by the way, the snail costume had a hat to its back and then the face. But the men in black took off the hat on the back, and then there's nobody or nothing there. And then you hear Niecy say, "Oh my God, there's something in there." And then you see green hands, and I said, "Oh my God, it's Kermit the Frog." And then Kermit pops up, judges go berserk, a fake crowd goes wild, and it is indeed the Muppet, Kermit the Frog. Obviously, childhood memories with Sesame Street and the Muppets. And then Kermit said, "I'm never going to hear the end of it" from Miss Piggy, which I thought was very, very cute. So, a very cute ending to Masked Singer. A great start to Season 5 in terms of who was under the mask. I thought personally that Raccoon should have went home because Raccoon reminded me so much of Gremlin. And his voice, like, he just couldn't sing. This is obviously like somebody in the rock field or maybe an athlete. But I'm not giving away my first impression guess until this person's unmasked. Although I talked about how my guess for the porcupine at the moment is Stevie Wonder because he was not my first impression guess. So there you have it. Snail unmasked in the first episode. It is Muppet and Sesame Street star Kermit the Frog, which was pretty awesome. Now I'll move on to the latest news and notes. I'm going to try to be very quick here with a segment that I always go way longer than I should. Joe Burrow on pace for week 1. Zach Taylor, the coach, says the quarterback is doing all the right things that we have hoped he'd do in rehab. So that's good news for the Bengals. Kristaps Porzingis perceived to be available. Porzingis is believed to be available despite the Mavs publicly dismissing rumors. I think Porzingis is available too. It's like Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. They're available. Teams just aren't admitting it. Cavaliers signed Quinn Cook. Free agent guard plans to put a 10-day contract with the Cavs. I could see a world where Quinn Cook goes in there, lights it up, and then they trade him. The Spurs and LaMarcus Aldridge are parting ways as the big man won't be back with the Spurs, and both sides agree for him to work on opportunities elsewhere. And Woj said that they have been engaged on several fronts with other teams. So it's going to be interesting. There are a lot of players being released in the NFL. And Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz both released by the Chiefs. And it's because of the cap going down. And the Chiefs can't keep everybody because of that Patrick Mahomes contract. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes is the team. Literally. So now the Chiefs have to be in the market for tackles. Both those guys were released. The Giants cut Kevin Zeitler. That saves them in cap space. But my thing is that those are tradable assets. Zeitler and those tackles from the Chiefs are tradable players. The Texans should have gotten something for J.J. Watt, too. Emmanuel Sanders was cut by the Saints 1 year into that contract. They could have gotten something for him. But I understand, due to the cap, that's why players are getting released left and right. Bob Myers comes out and says that the Warriors will be aggressive at the trade deadline, and he says that he thinks that they'll be more open in making calls. So that is interesting for sure. Senior Vice President of Basketball in the NCAA, Dan Gavitt, says if a team has 5 healthy players, they'll be able to play its NCAA tournament games. That's crazy. Bears trade offer for a quarterback could be used, as Wilson and Watson offers likely to be included with a boatload of draft picks. That's coming from CBS Sports. The CFL and the XFL are working together, and they're in early stages of discussing a partnership when each league returns to the field. We talked about this in the NBA segment that Derrick Rose is out again. That's third in a row. Derrick Rose definitely has COVID, but the Knicks just won't admit it. Nate and D'Antoni had beef, so Nate Robinson told Bleacher Report that he dropped 41 points off the bench for the Knicks after 14 straight DNPs, and they had beef before that, so that's interesting. We talked about Kevin Zeitler getting cut. The Giants have to cut Nate Solder. I think they cut the wrong lineman. Like, why is Nate Solder still on the team? He sucks. Like, Nate Brown, I can't believe Oakland or Las Vegas got something for Nate Brown. Nate Brown equals Nate Solder. I think the Giants cut the wrong player. I don't know why they cut Kevin Zeitler instead of Nate Solder. Ridiculous. Marcus Smart back against the Nets. We forgot to talk about that while doing the NBA segment. The Texas Rangers are allowing a full capacity, 100%. Over 40,000 fans at Globe Life Field for the home opener on April 5th. That's crazy, but there's a mask mandate apparently, so that's smart. Joey Votto tested positive for COVID, as the Red Slugger was placed on the injured list after the positive COVID test. I'm surprised they did not cancel those games. We talked about Zach Britton and his injury. He's going to be out for a while, but he lost 18 pounds. He lost 18 pounds in 10 days after a COVID-19 diagnosis. Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman offered to sit down with Myers Leonard after the Heat center used the anti-Semitic slur on a live stream. We talked about that yesterday with the Leonard situation and how the Heat pretty much suspended him, as Julian Edelman sent him a letter, which is very interesting. And the big news from yesterday in the WNBA, Maya Moore out next season as the 4-time WNBA champion says on Good Morning America that she'll sit out the season. Maya Moore, second year in a row out. That's a big loss for the WNBA and for the Mystics, obviously. I'm sorry, not the Mystics. The Minnesota. Minnesota. I can't even think of their. The Lynx. There you go. And Obviously, she sat out and really had a voice in the social justice and stuff. So she's sitting out yet again as the Lynx. It's a big blow for the Lynx. There's no other way around it. I know she used to be the best player in the WNBA, but that's not the case anymore. It's probably Della Dawn or Brittany Griner. You could argue Taurasi. But I'll tell you who it's going to be in 5 years from now, Paige Beckers. And she's not even in the league yet. That girl is going to be that girl is the best female player I've seen since Brianna Stewart. And Brianna Stewart, you could argue, for best WNBA player right now as well, obviously. Alrighty, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. A lot of them stood out to me on the board for college basketball. The one that stood out to me the most was the Kansas against Oklahoma, but that's juiced. By the way, I forgot to factor in the injuries for Villanova against Georgetown. Instead of 13, my projection is actually down to 10. But there's one that I'm like, yeah, that's it. Kansas is 2.5 against Oklahoma. It actually was at minus 116 a second ago. Now it's not. So I'm actually going to take it while it's there. So best bet of the day, Kansas. Kansas minus 2.5 at a juice number at minus 116. I'll live with the juice number. It's not a big deal. So there you have it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow with results from college basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB spring training. You're looking ahead to tomorrow's and the weekend's games. We'll preview and predict the NASCAR races from the weekend, and we will talk golf as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.